they eat anything.
They can break through bone with those jaws.
There's always a chance when you are trying to attract hyenas that you are also attracting at the same time lions.
I can't believe that 30 feet away is an animal who could easily kill me.
Wanted. Wildlife veterinarians to capture and move wild animals. Applicants must be willing to work long hours in severe environments and highly dangerous situations. Meet Ellen Mesner-Rogers and Jorge Paredes. Two young doctors just crazy enough to answer such an ad. Join them in South Africa as they learn firsthand from Dr. Corbus Rath and a team of other game capture specialists the challenges and triumphs of modern-day conservation.
It's going to be the experience of a lifetime.
On the Great African Wildlife Rescue. Throughout South Africa, humans and animals live in close contact with one another. But here in the village of Skukuza, they are practically neighbors. This small town, population 600, is actually located inside the boundaries of Kruger National Park. Kruger lies in the northeastern corner of South Africa and is one of the most famous game parks in the world. Today, Ellen and Jorge will take part in a mission that will turn a problem into a solution.
We're at the Skukuza research camp, and there's a lot of animals here that are quite tame. There's some impala running around, some vervet monkeys that come in, and there's this hyena here. And they're very used to people, which is nice because you can see them up close. But some of them, like this hyena, become problem animals.
They used to come into the camps and look for the rubbish. Normally they eat anything.
Tonight we're going to try to catch some hyenas, and we're going to do it over at the residential area. There's a golf course there where we can see them quite easily. And the animals over there have become problems. They're breaking into people's yards and getting into the garbage cans. The ones we catch, we're going to send to another park where they can be a little bit more truly wild than being just garbage eaters.
The vet's mission today will be to move a single male hyena as part of an ongoing program to relocate predators into areas where they can expand their range. The vet set out just before sunset with Dr. Do Hrobler, manager of game capture in Kruger.
Many years ago there was a balance between human and animals, but now that balance has been broken.
Hyenas travel in clans that average between 4 and 14 animals and can run down prey at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour. When not getting their food by hunting, they will scavenge off the kills of other animals, like lions.
Hyenas and lions are competitors, enemies in a way. They will purposely go out and kill one of the other species. Even though lions are so big, if there are more hyenas than lions, the lions better watch out. We're looking for a male specifically tonight. We're sending him to an area which already has a couple of females, but the male that was there has been killed. This is the first time that we're using cages, and it's an interesting technique.
The team will attract the animals by using meat for bait and by playing audio recordings of hyenas calling and eating. The bait is wired to a cable that springs the trapdoor in the cage.
So this is so they can't drag it right back out?
Yeah. Are you just going to tie it on that? Yeah.
So how you know, are you going to attract the hyenas?
Yeah, we got some old intestinal contents that we'll spray around here. Mm-hmm. The smell would attract them. Also we'll play a bit of hyena noises that they make at the carcass. And all those noises will attract them as well. One of those legs just sprayed in.
Jorge is given the job of scenting the area with pungent animal remains to attract a hyena.
So how come Jorge gets the really nice jobs, huh? How come I never have any of the fun?
Yeah, probably the job look a lot more worse than it is, but after you change your gloves and then you wash your hands, not a problem.
With the hyena recordings at full volume, the crew must keep a watchful eye.
There's always a chance when you are trying to attract hyenas that you are also attracting at the same time lions. The problem with hyenas is that it's very difficult to tell if it's a male or a female, and working at night and from a distance, it's even worse.
Unlike most animals, male and female hyena genitalia look almost exactly the same. The crew must investigate their catch closely.
Female. Okay, no, I agree.
The first one we caught was a female. We don't really have much control over who goes in the cage and who doesn't. We just have to hope that the next one that comes along is going to be a male.
So she had a little bite. Let's just see. Yeah, it seemed.
A short time later, another hyena approaches, but it seems wary of the cage as if it senses danger. Fortunately, this animal is close enough to the truck for the vets to determine that it is in fact a male.
Once we realized it was a male and it was taking too long for him to approach the cage, we decided that the best thing at that moment was to dart him.
The team will follow the animal by truck to be sure they don't lose him in the darkness. If the hyena escapes as the drugs begin to take effect, he may be defenseless against other predators.
Ellen, you bring the gloves with you, please.
Hyenas don't have claws like lions, but what they do have is extremely powerful jaws. They can break through bone. You don't want to go put your hand on that mouth because if he bites down, there is no way you're getting that hand out. And that's always something you think about. Make sure it's asleep before you go up to that head.
To avoid any unpleasant surprises, the hyena is given one additional dose. Tonight, Ellen and Jorge are joined by the newest vet trainee, Doe's 6-year-old son, Herbert.
Sometimes it helps to blindfold your eyes. Sometimes it's relaxing a lot. Okay, rather than put it on. We need to take blood samples. You guys know the procedure, please?
While the hyena is sedated, blood is drawn. Later, the samples will be tested for various diseases to help the vets decide if it is safe to translocate this male.
One of the side effects from this particular drug is increased saliva. And they are awake enough that they can still swallow. So you often see these animals doing this weird lapping, trying to swallow the extra saliva.
The drugs used here temporarily alter the hyena's senses and put him in a state of unconsciousness. Although this male looks wide awake, he is actually unaware of his surroundings. Jorge will stay by his side, back to the holding pen at Skakuza.
Once we played the hyena on the truck, we started to notice that the breathing was a little bit strange.
He's starting again with this kind of funny respiration, huh?
Is he pausing here?
Yeah, but there's something not normal.
So we decided to stop for a couple of seconds just to make sure that he was breathing well.
I mean, he's doing quite well and just suddenly just stopped breathing and jerked the head.
The drug that we use causes a lot of saliva to form in the mouth, and maybe it accidentally got some down the trachea, making it difficult to breathe.
As soon as we saw that the respiration and the heart rate were normal, we just continued the way to the holding pen.
The hyena is stabilizing and will be moved to an isolated holding pen. He will be kept there for about a week until being moved to his new home in the Kalahari.
One of the concerns whenever you're moving an animal from one place to another is that they don't carry some sort of disease to this new place. So in order to make sure that this animal is healthy and it's not going to introduce a new disease to its new home, we keep it in quarantine.
While the hyena is still drowsy from the drugs, he will be given a series of vaccinations.
Yes, that's good. Just behind the neck, Jorge.
I'm just giving now the vaccination against rabies. This is part of the quarantine room because he's going to be mixing with another group of hyenas that are already vaccinated. So he's going to be here for some days for the quarantine period after being released with the other group.
And he's going to a reasonably disease-free area in the Kalahari. So we want to make sure that they stay that way. Well, we come back tomorrow morning and check on it. Okay? Just let him wake up in peace.
The following day, the vets return to check up on their latest patient.
The next morning, the hyena looks really depressed. He's lying down, he's hardly moving, he's hardly reacting. You can't look at him and not feel sorry for him.
But he's really feeling sorry for himself this morning.
Yeah. Is this typical for the first day or so?
That's very typical.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, probably it's the first time he's captured, and for sure it's not a very good feeling being in a complete new environment.
Well, lucky for him, he's only in captivity for
For
a
a short
while,
period, yeah.
and then he'll be released again.
Oh, he's come though with some food.
Luckily, he does still respond to food.
I'm not that depressed.
If somebody put you into a jail today, I'm sure at that moment you will not feel hungry at all, and somebody just came with a hamburger. At least for that minute, you're not going to be thinking about how miserable you are. You're just eating.
In the past, we've looked at hyenas as a problem animal, and in a lot of areas, we've eliminated them. And what we've found is we've created a whole new problem. Without predators to keep their numbers in check, the prey species have exploded. And that population explosion has caused overgrazing. So by returning the hyenas, we're putting the checks and balances back into the system.
To monitor the hyena's adjustment during quarantine, Jorge will stay at Skakuza while Ellen travels to the other side of Kruger. There, a team of researchers have been studying a virus which has been found within the lion population.
When I was getting ready to go on this trip, one of the things that I was hoping we would do is the big predators, particularly the big cats.
Hey there.
Hello.
Did you miss us?
Yes, we did.
This team is part of an effort to locate the origin and effects of a somewhat mysterious disease in lions, similar to feline immunodeficiency virus, or FIV, in house cats. The virus might become a problem, but right now there are more questions than answers. The program is headed by Dr. Woody Meltzer.
FIV is the feline AIDS.
Yeah, feline immunodeficiency virus.
Right.
The domestic cat's form of the virus can be fatal. Researchers are now trying to figure out whether or not the lion form of the virus is making animals sick. It may be that some lion populations have actually evolved over time and can now live normally despite being infected with the disease.
We, as people, are just beginning to realize what these viruses are. we're finding that there are very similar viruses in a lot of different species. And we don't know anything about them. Where did it come from? How is it affecting the population? We don't know the answers, and that's one of the things that this study is trying to find out.
The lion is one of the most cunning predators in all of Africa. At full speed, they can run the length of a football field in 6 seconds. They're capable of consuming up to 50 kilograms of meat in one sitting. Their power and strength make them a threat to almost every animal in Kruger, including man. Tonight, the researchers will attempt to capture a group of male lions and test them for the virus. Like the hyena, lions are clever animals, so the team will use a zebra that has recently died to lure them to the capture site.
The reason why we drag the carcass is should any lion or other predator cross that line, it will pick up the smell and immediately follow that trail and end up here at the carcass.
In this case, we use the animal's interest in food to bring them in, and we can just dart them without having to go out and find them.
When they're lying with their backsides towards us, all the prime spots for dartings are directed in our direction.
The other thing is we use sound to attract them. We play tapes of hyenas eating, and lions are natural competitors of hyenas. When they hear hyenas eating, they come in thinking, if I can steal that food, I can get a really easy meal.
Although they will hunt during the day, like hyenas, lions prefer to feed at night, so the crew must wait patiently for their arrival.
This capture can take a long time. We cannot force them in. We have to sit there and wait, and we set it all up and hope it's attractive to them. But if they don't want to come in, we just have to sit there all night.
Watch it. Hey!
The bait has worked. Unfazed by the bright lights, 4 adult male lions move in on the kill.
Once you know that they're around, there's a different feel in the air. All of a sudden, you really don't want to go outside to check on anything.
Concealed in the trailer, Doe quietly prepares to dart the lions.
When you see them, you might be thinking, I can't believe that 30 feet away is an animal who could easily kill me, and then eat me, too.
With a group of adult male lions in range, Doe takes aim. All the lions must be darted before the crew can move in. If he misses even one, it could prove dangerous to the team. The lions have been darted and the drugs are taking effect. The team begins the dangerous process of retrieving the animals from the darkness.
When you go out, you go in a vehicle, and you make sure, first of all, that lion is actually asleep before you put your hands on it. Second of all, you always have someone checking. Are there any other lions right around here? You have someone with a searchlight, and hopefully you have someone with a gun in case something goes wrong.
One at a time, the lions are moved to the mobile research unit, where they will be thoroughly examined and tested for the virus. Each animal will be asleep for under an hour while the procedure is completed. Although the study will take many months to complete, the goal is to determine how many lions in Kruger have been infected with the virus and where it might have come from.
When lions are awake and you see them playing or running or whatever, they really remind you of domestic cats, of your pets, and you think, oh, how cool. But when you're up close to them, when they're asleep, you don't get that same feeling, because you put your hand up and its paw is twice as big. You look at its head, and the head weighs half as much as you do. And there's not that feeling of, oh, this is a cuddly little animal. This is a hunter, and this is a killer.
After the lions are measured and weighed, the vets will take blood and sperm samples from each animal to try and get a better picture of the health of the lion population in Kruger. Ellen and Doe carefully draw blood, obtaining a sample that will be used to determine whether or not this lion has the virus. If some lion populations are found to be infected while others are not, this will have an impact on the way lions are managed.
This is a study to try to find out what this disease is doing. At this point, we don't have a cure for it. Just like we don't have a cure for human AIDS, we don't have a cure for feline AIDS.
Although the results will not be known for some time, each step brings Dr. Meltzer and his team closer to understanding this complex disease. Captures like this one provide data which may one day help unravel mysteries surrounding viruses like FIV. At the end of a long night's work, the team is finally returning the last of the lions to the wild. The reversal drug is given, and a very sleepy lion is gently awakened.
Even though there's a big difference between wild animals and pets, doing this work tonight reminded me so much of working in a clinic. Here we have a cat, we need to take blood, we need to test for particular diseases, and that's all the same. Of course, this cat weighs about 600 pounds. It's a very large carnivore, and that has a certain special feeling when you look at this animal that you know that if it were awake, you wouldn't have a chance being this close.
Coming up on the Great African Wildlife Rescue.
We never underestimate the danger that we could have with the hippos.
They're amazingly aggressive. They kill more people in Africa than any other animal. Oxpeckers play a really vital role in wildlife health and maintaining the checks and balances that keep everything functioning the way it should.